Now is your last chance to get access to all of my infield footage, to get access to 5+ hours of videos of myself, not just approaching women, not just getting their numbers, and that's cool, that's great, that makes good YouTube content, not just getting their numbers, but bringing them all the way home, pulling girls, including a fitness model, an Instagram model, a threesome, right? I approach two girls and pull them both, things like that. And not only do you get to see the entire footage without a breakdown, so you get to see the footage from beginning to end, you also get to see a version of the footage with me explaining everything that I do, why I do it, and why it works. So I break down and explain, not just from a technical, like theoretical perspective, because you can get that on free videos. You can get the theory, the ideas, the philosophy of what game looks like, but that's completely different from seeing it with real interaction, seeing it in person, what a good interaction looks like. Why maybe the girl gave an objection. How do I handle that objection? How do I constantly move things forward and escalate without making the girl uncomfortable? Why did that girl feel turned on at that moment and start chasing? Things like that. You see the explanations of why those things are happening throughout the interaction. And that's something that you're not going to get on YouTube, because if you put that on a platform like YouTube, you're going to end up getting canceled, like Bradicus, for example. That footage is going away in 72 hours. It is currently available on my God Mode online course. It is available in my online course, which is extremely affordable and has over 5 hours of infield that you cannot see anywhere else. But in 72 hours, I'm taking it down. It will not be available. And the reason I'm doing that is primarily because I'm working on something new, a new type of product. And I don't want to be the guy that has 50 products. I don't want to be the guy that has a huge catalog. You don't know what to choose from. I'm constantly selling something new. There's always another product. I want to keep things streamlined. This is your last chance to get access to my 5 hours of infield in my God Mode product. And if you're wondering what God Mode is a concept that comes from video games. It's a concept that when you put in a cheat code, you enter God Mode, and then you can no longer be killed. You can do anything. You can just, kill citizens as you like. You can just destroy everything. You can beat the final boss you can do anything. It is a metaphor for what you can experience when going out and approaching women, for a state that you can enter when you're out talking to girls if you follow a certain series of steps. There's a very specific series of steps you can take that are repeatable and not that difficult to do. And if you do this, you will enter a state where you feel completely fearless. This is actually something that is psychologically proven. It's known as a flow state. And a flow state is where you feel your best and you perform your best. You become infinitely more creative. You become charismatic. You don't overthink. You're not worried about getting rejected. You're completely free. And that's a state you can enter whenever you want. Because my first few years of going out and approaching women was very random. I would sometimes have a great night. I would pull a hot girl home. I would have a lot of success. I'd be getting good reactions. Next night, it would fucking suck. It would be like torture. This might be familiar for you if you go out at all. And I had no idea what was causing the difference between the good nights and the bad nights. It was very difficult to tell. I eventually realized that what was happening had a pattern, that there were certain steps I took on the good nights that I didn't take on the bad nights. And then over time, I turned it into a very specific formula that anyone can follow. And that's what I coach people when I do boot camps. I teach people this series of steps. And you'll see guys who've never been able to approach a girl in their lives almost become too confident. At first, they're like, no, I won't do that approach. And then I tell, okay, do step one. They do step one. They don't even want to do it. They're like, I don't know. They do it. Once they do that first step, then they start getting a momentum. And then it's easier to do the second step, third step, etc. And within 30 minutes to an hour, they're approaching women, even if I don't tell them to. Like they see a girl and they approach her immediately without hesitation. They'll see a couple and they'll think, that guy's probably gay. It's probably her gay friend. Might as well go in anyway. They're almost too confident. That's what happens when you follow the process. And that's why so many of my clients on my boot camps have done things like lose their virginity, have threesomes, pull two girls in one night. I have testimonials for all of those examples below. But the reason those things happen is because there's a very specific formula, and that's what I teach in God mode. That's what the main course in God mode is about. And then the infield footage puts it all together and shows you what it looks like in real life, so that it's not just theory, it's something very practical and something that you can replicate no matter who you are, no matter how much experience you have. Even if you're brand new to game, there is a beginner challenge, a 30-day challenge that is designed to teach you how to get into God mode. And I do this every single time that I go out. Usually within 10 minutes, I'm in that state where I just feel unstoppable. And when you do that, you'll find yourself pulling girls more often than not when you go out. That might sound hard to believe, but it's 100% true. There's just a series of steps to triggering your brain to turn off the cortisol, to turn off the inner Woody Allen, which is telling you, I'm not good enough, she's not going to like you. That part of your brain literally shuts off. This has been shown in MRI studies when you follow the steps to entering God mode. And then you're able to approach without hesitation. And you get more results just because you're taking more action, because it's easy to approach. It's easy to ask the girl for the number. It's easy to invite the girl to come home with you. You do that without hesitation. You get more results just because the sheer numbers, but you also get more results because you feel your best, because you feel more charismatic, because you're having fun. You're not taking yourself seriously. And women feel that energy. And they know that this is the kind of guy that would make me come. That's the best way to put it. This is the kind of guy that if he fucks me, he's going to do a good job. He's not going to be insecure and worried and like just and done. He's not going to be that guy. And that's why it's so powerful. And eventually states become traits. If you get into God mode enough, that becomes your default. You live and breathe at all times in a charismatic state where you have far less anxiety than you thought was possible, where you feel far more confident than you thought was possible. And the fastest route to getting to that point is to learn how to enter that state intentionally. Do that again and again and again until it becomes your default. And that's what God mode will teach you to do. And it's not going to be available after 72 hours. I am taking it down. This is your last chance to get the course. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, make sure to click the link below. It's 50% off, and then it's not going to be available after 72 hours. So if you found my YouTube content to be even remotely useful, this is the next level. This is content that is more structured, more put together, and most importantly, you get access to 5 hours of infield, not just numbers, complete polls all the way from opening the girl to bringing her home. And I explain exactly how I made that happen, each step of the way. And I want to mention really what got me from intermediate to advanced in terms of pickup was watching infield. Because going out, you can get a lot better through experience, through learning in person. But when I saw what elite level game looks like, when I saw what someone who's truly an expert, what it looks like, I saw their infield, I saw their breakdowns, I saw the analysis, I understood the concepts on a level that I couldn't understand just from watching theory. That's very important to understand because the way our brain works is words and language. Yes, you can get the idea of a concept, but the map is not the territory. You're just getting a map. When you see real life footage, when you see what it truly looks like to be able to pull hot girls in less than an hour of meeting them, you see someone doing that, you get the information on a much deeper level. It's almost like muscle memory. It becomes a lot more than a theoretical understanding. And that's why infield is so powerful. But with YouTube banning people like Andrew Tate, with YouTube banning actually a lot of people, a lot of pickup coaches have been banned for having infield that just wasn't politically correct enough. You have to be very careful posting that. And that's why it's only in the course. But that course is only going to be available for 72 more hours. So make sure to click the link below to get your copy 50% off. And if you're someone who thinks, well, an online course sounds nice, but what I really need is accountability. I need in-person coaching. The online course isn't enough. I'm willing to take it to a higher level. I'm willing to invest more because I'm taking this very seriously. I do have a few spots for in-person coaching that have become available. A couple people canceled. One is for next week in Austin, Texas. One is for Chicago 2 weeks from now. I have one spot for each of those. and I have one spot on October 14 through 16. You might have noticed I haven't been mentioning boot camps that often in my recent videos. That's because they've been completely booked. But every once in a while, someone will cancel. Someone will say, oh, I'm a bitch. Okay, that's me. I mean, a lot of the time, that's why they cancel. They're like, I'm too afraid. I'm not going to do it. Or maybe they have a genuine reason why they can't make it. Something happens. But sometimes a spot will become available. So right now, I have 3 spots available for my in-person boot camps. You can text me at 480-749-7465. Text the word boot camp, and we will discuss the details from there. And if you're skeptical about whether in-person coaching is actually worth it, whether it's effective, I have over 20 video testimonials of guys who got laid, who actually got the result that you want to get from pickup, other than maybe marriage. Well, that'll come in the future. I'm sure someone will get married on a boot camp and then regret it because some of them are in Vegas. It's bound to happen eventually. These are all examples of guys who got laid on the boot camp, even though most of them had never gotten laid from approaching in their lives before the boot camp. So if you're not sure, maybe it's bullshit, it doesn't work, I don't believe it, I understand skepticism. Watch the testimonials. If that doesn't convince you, then you just don't want to be convinced, and that's fine. That is what it is. But if you're interested in an in-person boot camp, text me at 480-749-7465.